Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We just finished ranking all of the Power 5 coaches. We did it conference by conference and then capped it off by ranking our top 10 coaches in the entire country. But now we're going to shift our attention to the players. Today we're going to be starting a series ranking all of the quarterbacks within the Power 5 conferences. And today we're going to start with arguably the best conference in the country, the SEC, ranking every quarterback within the Southeastern Conference. And so today, guys, we're just going to jump right on into our rankings. We're going to start at the bottom, work our way up. So coming in at number 14, the arguably worst quarterback in the SEC, we have a battle between Mike Wright and Ken Seals at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, arguably the worst team in the SEC heading into 2022, so it's only fitting that these are the quarterbacks that come in last in our quarterback rankings. Mike Wright threw for a little over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns last year for Vanderbilt, also accumulated over 300 rushing yards. Ken Seals, though, threw for a little over 1,100 yards and 5 touchdowns. When you look at these two quarterbacks, guys, their styles are a little bit differently. Mike Wright, certainly more of a dual threat QB than Ken Seals, and to me, going to be the guy that gives Clark Lee the best chance to win in year 2 as head coach down in Nashville. But regardless, guys, these are two young quarterbacks that still have a lot of work left to do. And Vanderbilt, of course, is going to be in for what appears to be another rough season in 2022. Coming in at number 13, another bit of a battle here between Jack Abraham and Brady Cook at Missouri. And those are the two guys that we believe will be the number 1 and number 2 starters in Columbia. Jack Abraham, though, not a bad QB. He threw for over 7,000 yards and 41 touchdowns in 3 years during his time at Southern Miss. He transferred to Mississippi State, really never saw the field there, and now he comes back to another SEC school in Missouri, and we assume that he will become the starter for Eli Drinkwitz. But it could be Brady Cook, who just threw for 345 yards behind Connor Bazelak just last year. Both guys have great arms. Both of them can be relatively accurate, but both of them still have some major questions, especially at this kind of level of competition, taking over a full-time starting position for an SEC program, especially a very tough SEC East. Coming in at number 12, another bit of a battle there at Auburn on the Plains, whether it's TJ Finley or the Texas A&M transfer in Zach Calzada. TJ Finley last year, when he was in for Bo Nix, threw for 827 yards, 6 touchdowns to just 1 interception, and does have a little bit of dual threat capability, but really he's just been mediocre. During his time at LSU before he transferred to Auburn, and obviously last year at Auburn, I would say he's just been mediocre at best. Calzada transfers in from Texas A&M after throwing for over 2,100 yards and 17 touchdowns last year, taking over the starting job relatively early when Haynes King went down with an injury early on in the season against Colorado. Neither of these quarterbacks are going to light it up. Neither of these quarterbacks are extremely explosive and dynamic. But Brian Harsin does have a very big decision to make, and which of these quarterbacks he believes is going to give Auburn the best chance to win, and what appears to be a very big year for him down on the Plains. In at number 11, the quarterback situation at LSU. Miles Brennan or maybe Jaden Daniels, the transfer quarterback from Arizona State. Brennan hopefully will remain healthy. When we have seen him playing, when we have seen him fully healthy, he's been a great quarterback. And some would say that maybe he deserves to be higher up on this list. But obviously health is a reason that we have him down low. We really haven't seen a whole lot of Brennan during his college career, but Brian Kelly did convince him to stay after he did enter his name in the transfer portal. Jaden Daniels transfers in from Arizona State after a disappointing 2021. He did throw for over 2,300 yards, but had 10 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and what many thought would be a breakout year for him out in the desert. So both these quarterbacks certainly have some questions. Daniels and his consistency, Brennan and his health, and that is why they both find themselves down at number 11. And it'll be very interesting to see what Brian Kelly does heading into his first year in Baton Rouge. In at number 10, a national champion, Stetson Bennett at Georgia. Look, we know he won a national championship, but if we're going to be completely honest, Stetson Bennett is not the reason that Georgia won the national championship. He absolutely contributed and was a major role, throwing for over 2,800 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Well, he only had 2 300-plus yard games in 2021. One of them, though, did come against Michigan in the college football playoff. But Georgia relied on the strength of their defense and obviously a pretty potent running game as well to carry the load there. Georgia fans have kind of had a love-hate relationship with Stetson Bennett during his time in Athens, many believing someone else should have taken over that starting job, like maybe, JT Daniels a few years ago and left and right after that. But Stetson Bennett still is a national champion, comes in at number 10. Again, he's not very dynamic. He's not, to me, as electric as some of the quarterbacks we have ranked ahead of him, but he still has a national title to his name, which is something that really no one else ahead of him has. Spencer Rattler comes in at number 9, the transfer quarterback from Oklahoma. He's now playing at South Carolina. He's down at number 9 for a reason, guys. He transferred from Oklahoma for a reason. If he was doing great at Oklahoma, he'd either be there still or out in LA with Lincoln Riley. But he is in Columbia, South Carolina for a reason. He did start the first 6 games for Oklahoma last year, but only had 10 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He struggled with accuracy. He's wildly inconsistent. And while this is a big name pickup for South Carolina, and I think he's going to do wonders for Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks, I think some of the guys ahead of him right now have proven themselves a little bit more, and Rattler's just going to find his mojo again, just like he had a few years ago. In at number 8, Max Johnson at Texas A&M. Johnson transfers in from LSU after throwing for over 2,800 yards and 27 touchdowns last year. He's got a great arm. He's accurate. Some might say 8 is low, but the SEC guys, again, it's just loaded with quarterback talent heading into this upcoming season. But Johnson is a huge pickup for Texas A&M. Not guaranteed the starting position. Haynes King could come back and battle for that, but we do believe Max Johnson will get that nod, and I believe he's going to give A&M the best chance to win and maybe have one of the best years yet under Jimbo Fisher. Coming in at number 7, we're in the top half now, Anthony Richardson at Florida. You want to talk about an electric quarterback? This is the guy. And this is the guy that unfortunately was not used to his potential under Dan Mullen last year. He was not the starter for Florida, but he still had 9 total touchdowns. 9 total touchdowns, 401 rushing yards, averaging 7.9 yards per rush. 529 passing yards, nothing to really shrug about, nothing spectacular, but again, he wasn't the starter. But when Anthony Richardson was out on the field for Florida, he was electric and he was tough to stop. And I believe Billy Napier will work on his passing mechanics because we know how dangerous he can be as a dual threat guy on the ground. Richardson, a top half quarterback in the SEC, should be poised for a breakout year in 2022. In at 6, a transfer quarterback from USC, Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. Threw for over 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns in just 6 games at USC last year. To me, the perfect fit for Lane Kiffin's system in Oxford. Has a 61.9% completion percentage. To me, the guy that is going to fill the void perfectly left by Matt Corral. He really does give me Matt Corral vibes once again in Oxford, and is going to fit that up-tempo scheme perfectly at Ole Miss. And at number 5, Will Levis at Kentucky. Some should say he should be lower. I think Levis is perfect at number 5, and he has done wonders for this Kentucky offense. First off, he's got a great frame. 6'3", 232 pounds. He's accurate, 66% completion percentage, so he is accurate. He can put the ball anywhere you need it to be. Threw for over 2,800 yards and 24 touchdowns last year, and also had 9 rushing touchdowns. He's extremely difficult to take down. Kentucky had 10 wins last year and once again looks poised to win anywhere from 8 to 10 again in 2022. And a major reason for that is going to be because of Will Levis, who I truly believe is a top half quarterback in the SEC. In at number 4, Will Rogers at Mississippi State. You want to talk about perfect quarterbacks and guys who fit their system well, it's Will Rogers in that air raid system. Over 4,700 passing yards last year for Mike Leach in Starkville. 36 touchdowns on the year. And typically, guys, you got an air raid quarterback, they're just going to air it out left and right, maybe not be as accurate, maybe not be putting the ball in the money that often. Will Rogers was doing that. 73.9% completion percentage. That's unreal. So 36 touchdowns, over 4,700 yards, completing nearly 74% of his passes, nearly every 3 out of 4 passes he was completing, and only 9 interceptions on top of all that. That offense in Starkville, guys, is so tough to stop, and Will Rogers is putting up video game type numbers and looks poised to do it once again in 2022. In at number 3, Hendon Hooker at Tennessee. Phenomenal first year for Hendon Hooker in Knoxville under Josh Heupel. You could argue that he is the second best quarterback in the SEC, only behind Bryce Young, and we'll get to him in a second. But we've got him at 3rd right now. Over 2,900 yards through the air last year, 31 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. completed 68.2% of his passes, and also added 5 rushing touchdowns. Hooker's got a great frame, he's accurate, he takes great care of the football, and that dual threat capability, 620 rushing yards, just keep that in mind, sets him apart from some of the other quarterbacks that we've already mentioned. Hendon Hooker is poised for another breakout year in 2022, had a breakout year in 2021, but now in year 2 under Josh Heupel's system. Watch out for Hooker, who again is one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. In at number 2, we've got KJ Jefferson. He's drawing comparisons to Cam Newton, one of the best quarterbacks in recent memory within the SEC. KJ Jefferson has one of the best arms in the conference. He's got a great deep ball, he's got great arm strength, and he's extremely physical. Just like Hendon Hooker, he takes great care of the football. He's thrown for over 2,600 yards, 21 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. Rushed for 664 yards last year with 6 touchdowns. He's a bruising quarterback. He's so hard to take down. His mobility and his dual threat capability sets him apart from the guys we've already mentioned. And just like Hendon Hooker at Tennessee, he had a breakout year last year, along with Arkansas, who had a breakout year, winning 9 games for the first time since 2011. And the Hogs, once again, looking to make some major noise in the Southeastern Conference, many thinking they could win up to 10 games in 2022. But of course, we'll have that official prediction here in just a few months. Coming in at number 1, guys, it shouldn't be a surprise. It's Bryce Young at Alabama, the Heisman Trophy winner, a guy who threw for over 4,800 yards last year, 47 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. He had an 87.6 QBR last year, which ranked 2nd in the entire country. Tacked on 3 rushing touchdowns for that perfect 50 number, 50 total touchdowns on the year. And Alabama, guys, is loaded left and right. They're loaded defensively, but they're loaded offensively as well. And they are poised to make another run, not just at winning the SEC, but claiming yet another national title after falling short last year to Georgia in that championship game. But Bryce Young is not just the best quarterback in the SEC, but many would say is the best quarterback in the entire country heading in to 2022. So there you have it, guys, your SEC quarterback rankings. We want to hear from you. Who should be higher? Who should be lower? Who did we not mention? We want to hear your thoughts about the SEC heading into the season, and we'll have even deeper analysis on all these players and these teams as we gear up for predictions that will be starting again here in just about a month or so. So stay tuned for that. But until then, guys, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. We want you to become a part of our team, become a part of the GE Nation, and be a part of what we're building here at the channel. So make sure to do all of that for us. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.